You know that feeling when you're at a restaurant, you take a bite of something, and you just think, wow, there's no way I could ever make this at home? Well, today we're tackling exactly that. We're not just making any shinwari chicken karahi, we're making a massive restaurant-style one. And the best part? We're going to uncover the one simple secret that makes all the difference. So let's get right into it. Okay, first things first, we really need to wrap our heads around the scale here. Because the recipe we're looking at from our Source Village Food Secrets, this is for a true celebration. I mean, this isn't your average weeknight dinner, this is a full-blown culinary event. So, what are we talking about? 40 kilograms of chicken. That's nearly 90 pounds. I mean, just think about that. Cooking that much meat all at once? It requires a completely different playbook from anything you do in a regular kitchen. And it doesn't stop with the chicken. The supporting cast is just as massive. To go along with those 40 kilos of chicken, we're talking 15 kilos of tomatoes and a full 5 times liters of cooking oil. It's this sheer volume, this scale, that really starts to build that deep, rich flavor you only seem to get at restaurants. Now, when you look at numbers like that, you'd be forgiven for thinking this recipe must be incredibly complicated, right? But what's so fascinating and what I love about this is that the real secret to an authentic shinwari karahi, it isn't about adding more stuff. It's actually about taking things away. And that right there, that brings us to the core philosophy of this whole dish. See, authentic shinwari cooking is all about minimalism. It's about restraint, and it's about letting just a few really high-quality ingredients do all the talking. You know, in the source video, the host's father, Abuji, he just sums it up perfectly. When someone asks him what goes in, he's just like salt, green chilies, and tomatoes. That's it. Simple, no other spices. Can you believe that? That's the entire flavor base. It's almost shockingly simple. And this is such a fantastic way to see the difference because it's a real contrast to what many of us think a karahi is, right? On one side, you've got the typical style, packed with onions, yogurt, a whole blend of spices, all creating that rich masala. But the shinwari style, it's all about the pure, unadulterated flavor of the meat itself, just cranked up a notch by those fresh tomatoes and chilies. Okay, so before we get to that big restaurant secret, we have to talk about the single most critical technique. It's a process called bunai. And let me tell you, without mastering this, absolutely nothing else we talk about is going to matter. So here's the deal with bunai. It isn't just about, browning the chicken. It's a very specific two-stage process. First, you have to cook the chicken until every last drop of its own water has steamed away. The pan needs to be dry. Only then does the real searing and fat begin. And that is what creates that incredibly deep, golden foundational flavor that you just can't fake. All right, so we've got the philosophy of simplicity. We've got the core technique of bunai. Now, it's time for the moment you've been waiting for. The one simple trick that takes this dish from pretty good homemade to unbelievably restaurant quality. And this was a question that really, truly obsessed the host of Village Food Secrets. He just knew restaurants were doing something different, something special that he was missing. He could see them adding this liquid to the pan, but he knew it wasn't just plain old water. So he did what any of us would do. He went right up to a restaurant chef and asked him straight up, "Hey, what is in that water you're adding?" And the chef's reply? Basically, "This is our secret. We're not going to tell you." Classic. But lucky for us, our host is persistent, and he eventually figured it out. And here it is. This just perfectly brings us back to that theme of simplicity. The big secret, it isn't some exotic spice or a complex day-long stock. It's simply water, infused with garlic and ginger paste. That's literally it. This secret water gets tossed in right after the bunai stage, and it deglazes the pan, pulling up all those amazing flavorful bits from the bottom and building this deep aromatic base before the tomatoes even get near it. So now we have all the pieces of the puzzle, right? We've got the minimalist philosophy, the perfect bunai technique, and now the secret garlic ginger water. So let's see how this all comes together to create that final signature gravy. And the process from here on out is it's beautiful in its logic. First, you sear that chicken to golden brown perfection. That's your bunai. Then you add that secret water to build the aromatic foundation. Then in go the fresh tomatoes and green chilies. And after that, you just let it do its thing. And listen, this is so important. No other liquid gets added. None. The tomatoes just completely break down, releasing all of their own juice. That juice then combines with that aromatic garlic ginger water and the rendered fat from the chicken, and that whole combination just naturally thickens into that rich, luscious gravy the dish is famous for. No cornstarch, no flour, nothing. Okay, so the gravy is perfect. It's rich, it's natural. All that's left are a few final touches, and, of course, the most important part of any cooking project, the taste test. And true to that shinwari philosophy, the finishing touches are super simple and fresh. Just a little sprinkle of toasted cumin powder and black pepper to add some warmth, and then a big, generous handful of fresh coriander for that pop of brightness. That is all it needs. So, what's the final verdict? Well, the host's father, Abuji, he takes one bite, and his reaction just says everything you need to know. He exclaims, Zindabad, mazahi agya, which basically means long live, I absolutely loved it. It's just this incredible moment of pure joy, and it's the ultimate proof that the technique and the secret absolutely worked. So let's just quickly recap the big secrets to making an incredible shinwari karahi. First, it's all about technique over a long list of spices. Second, you have to master that two-stage bunai. Third, you harness the simple but mighty power of garlic ginger water. And finally, you just need the patience to let those tomatoes create the gravy all on their own. It really makes you think, doesn't it? The solution here wasn't about adding more complexity. It was about understanding a simple, foundational step that was right there all along. So maybe the next time you're in the kitchen trying to recreate a dish you absolutely love, the answer isn't some missing exotic ingredient. Maybe the real question you should be asking yourself is, what simple secret is hiding in plain sight?